When the lockdown was announced in March 2020, no one could have predicted the scale in which the country would need all healthcare worker hands on deck to curb the spread of the coronavirus, including those of nurses whose speciality is taking care of the injured in casualty wards. Mpumi Ndabula from Alberton in Gauteng is one such registered trauma nurse.
We're used to having patients coming in casualty, getting treated, and they get moved, to either the wards or to ICU, or they get discharged. But with COVID, we started having ICU patients spending days in casualty, and literally we'd have beds in passages. That's like how bad it was.
When you're a frontline worker faced with overwhelming circumstances, like the kind experienced during a global pandemic, you learn to think on your feet. Just like nurse Mpumi Ndabula, who established an initiative of treating patients in the comfort of their own homes. It was an idea that was inspired by her mother, 𝗀𝗶𝗴𝗶𝗶 Ndabula, who contracted COVID-19 in January. Most of her patients were people who couldn't get beds in overcrowded hospitals and deserved the type of care she was able to offer her mother. 𝗀𝗶𝗴𝗶𝗶's condition quickly worsened and she was taken to hospital. But Mpumi was concerned that due to patient overcrowding, her mother might not get the best care in hospital. With the family's approval, Mpumi took her mom out of hospital and made it her responsibility to nurse her at home.
Bengifila hot kakhulu, nginobudizi kakhulu, kule headache iyobe strong kakhulu, iyobe strong, ngana appetite, ngiweak nje.
Staff and PPE shortages meant that nurses were overworked and ill-equipped in the face of a deadly, unfamiliar virus. Mpumi also felt the pressure during the pandemic. She resigned from her post at a private hospital to focus on her well-being.
It's like people were dying, and it's like nobody asked how the nurses were doing. And after nursing a lot of patients in the hospital and after losing a lot of the patients as well, for me emotionally that was just a lot, and I just needed some time just to find myself.
People with mild COVID symptoms were urged to self-isolate in their homes. This somewhat helped to ease the pressure on South Africa's overburdened healthcare system, but it meant that many patients embarked on treatment regimens without the benefit of frequent intervention by a healthcare professional, a scary prospect. Providing home-based care for her mother was an obvious decision for Mpumi, even if it exposed her to the risk of also contracting the virus.
So I started thinking about, okay, we need to have a treatment plan. What are we going to do when we take her out of the hospital?
Getting a reliable oxygen source was the priority. The hefty price tag is around 9,000 Rand for an oxygen machine and 5,000 Rand for a cylinder. At first, Mpumi could only afford to hire the device.
This one time we ran out of oxygen, so we had to go and refill it. So we went to the pharmacy, and the queue that I found there, it was so traumatizing. And I broke down. I said to this guy, my mother's very sick, she needs oxygen, and they really looked at me and they were like, no, but all these people need oxygen.
𝗀𝗶𝗴𝗶𝗶 saw that the cost of her treatment weighed heavily on her daughter.
First day yaqala uqasha lo machine bombize 1,004. So uku-refill because uya-refill uthatha 1 hour. So bekathatha amabhodlela ayi-2. Wa-end up athenga the 3rd bottle.
Despite the challenges, 𝗀𝗶𝗴𝗶𝗶 had faith in her daughter's ability as a nurse. Mpumi, on the other hand, was nervous. How did you separate daughter and nurse responsibilities while looking after your mother, who's also now your critical patient at home?
It was tough every day for me. I had to be nursing her while I was crying.
Thankfully, 𝗀𝗶𝗴𝗶𝗶's condition improved and weeks later she was cleared of the virus. Mpumi was so relieved that her gamble paid off. She shared the great news online. She didn't expect that her experience would open a new door in her career path, home-based care.
I posted the story about my mother on Twitter and how I helped her, and it became a huge thing that Sunday, I remember, and everybody was like, this is so amazing, like, can you come and help?
Mpumi would soon put her cylinders to good use. One of the first people to reach out to Mpumi on social media was Joan von Meyer from Kempton Park. Even though his condition was worsening, Mr. von Meyer and his wife Joan took the risky decision to choose home-based care over an overcrowded hospital. Joan's husband, Graham von Meyer, was admitted into hospital after he contracted COVID-19, just days before Mpumi posted about her mother's treatment journey on Twitter.
I had never seen so many people that were sick and that were on oxygen all at the same time. For me personally, it overwhelmed me.
Graham says the hospital he was in didn't have enough beds.
In a space where there's 4 beds, you find there's 10 people. We decided that it would be best that if we can get the nurse to come to the house to treat me, it would be obviously on a one-on-one basis, and my chances of recovery are much better.
Joan was delighted when Mpumi took her call. Mpumi's treatment approach went beyond just administering medicine and oxygen. She works alongside a doctor, making sure patients receive the best care.
Nurse Mpumi was able to show my wife and my daughter, for example, how I must do my breathing exercises. So during the course of every day, my daughter and I would be on our backs with our legs up, counting through the breathing exercises.
With each exercise session, Graham regained his strength.
It took about 10 days for the medications to start working. I mean, a person is so weak you can't even walk.
He has recovered but is still waiting on his senses to return to normal.
The taste and the smell is not back 100% yet. So sometimes when the wife is cooking, you can't get any smell, which is a bad thing because she's a good cook.
The COVID-19 pandemic has proven to the world what we already know, that nursing is a calling and not a job. That is the sentiment shared by many people who have witnessed the love and care of nurse Mpumi Ndabula. To date, Mpumi has treated about 30 patients.
I know what it's like when you need help and you're all on your own, and you don't know what to do. So I was like, I have to go there. It doesn't matter whether I'm from work and I'm tired, but let me just go and help out these people.
The von Meyers say no words can ever adequately express their gratitude to Mpumi for providing quality care in their time of need, even if it meant putting her own life at risk.
She's very loving. She's so heartwarming. Even the first time we met her, it felt like she was my younger sister.
It was, can I say, the best care that I could have got. It's like she's part of the family now.